Greetings, fellow humans, and welcome to Sam and Max Hit the Books. I'm Max.
I'm Sam.
And we're here today to talk to you about the comics that came out on the 6th of November in 2019. I'll get us right into it. There's a lot of books this week. And we'll start with Transformers Galaxies, issue 2. This is actually a couple weeks late for us. The comic book store got shorted on the initial shipment.
Okay.
But anyway, this continues this is by Tyler Blazinski with art by Livio Ramondelli, doing his cool mix of line and digital art and glowy eyes and things.
Yep.
This basically continues the Constructicons story that we've been following, which, gotta be honest with you, in just 2 issues of this Constructicons storyline,
it's interesting.
It's far more interesting and moving at a much better pace than the main book is.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot to the issue necessarily. It's just pieces moving. Not really much mystery about anything that's happening. We see the Insecticons and we get explained what they are, and they're gross.
They are gross.
And we learn a little more about the Constructicons and how they're all kind of... they're disgruntled.
And they're being starved.
They are being starved, and we still don't specifically know why. So I'm sure there will be some kind of bombshell that reveals, what the actual reason for them being out there and on such strict Energon rations that they're now supplementing with some sort of weird, illegal Energon substitute that this book is treating very much like some sort of weird combination of meth and steroids.
Right. They're recycling trash into drugs and energy.
And that's pretty... I mean, we get a little Shockwave. It's always nice to see a little Shockwave show up with his mono eye. And they're really trying hard in this book to give the Constructicons separate personalities, but it's real rough because it's tough to remember which name goes with which face.
Yeah, and they're all visor faces.
That's the thing. I couldn't figure out why I was having so much trouble until I went to that last page and it shows all 6 of their faces in a row and realized oh wait, okay. All 5 out of 6 got visors.
Yep.
3 out of those visored ones have covered mouths. Although the artist did do a very good job of giving everybody very distinct faces, even if he had to break up one of the human-y faces in order to do so.
Yeah.
Speaking of this last page, I'm very curious to know what this is about, because that's not the shape that a fist makes if you punch it into the ground. That's like the bottom of a fist, like you were using your fists to push yourself up out of the ground, but with closed fingers.
I don't know. I mean, if it's a big enough fist and it breaks through the ground and then it's pulled back out, it might have taken out the rest around with it when it pulled back up.
Oh, I'm not concerned about all of it. I'm just concerned about how the fingers and thumb are on a flat plane with the palm, which also, as you say, could be explained by some sort of, geomorphic maneuvering that caused the rocks to resettle in a weird way after the punch went into the ground. But that's
just too much. But flat robot hands, whatever.
It could work. It could work. But overall, a pretty enjoyable issue of Transformers. I liked it quite a bit. I'm giving this a 6.
Yes, I also give it a 6.
All right.
And now we're going to move right into number 16 of the Fantastic Four by Dan Slott and Sean Izaksky.
I have no clue. I might guess Isaacs.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense. Isaac.
But I have no goddamn clue. There could be silent, syllables in there. You don't know.
It's true.
But the art's good.
It looks awesome. And this is taking up the story where we left off with the Fantastic Four recreating their initial flight, and this time succeeding, and passing into this other world, which knows all about them.
Yeah. It feels like a long time since the last issue for some reason.
It does feel like a long time.
Yeah.
And so catching up, Ben Grimm, the Thing, got punched into the Lowtown where there's monsters, and Johnny Storm, he he's gotten soul binded to a winged lady.
Yes, to Sky.
To Sky.
It's the easiest code name ever to remember.
That's a good point. And Reed and Sue are getting the grand tour from Mr. Creates Eyes Everywhere.
Yeah, and I gotta be honest, while the writing was mostly solid in this issue, I really didn't like it when Sue was like, they're guarding us with 2 Thors and a Captain America. Like, that's too how the internet comments on things and not enough how people actually talk about things.
I know, I was bothered by that too. This, it's an alright issue, but it's clear that the leader of this place definitely has ill intent towards the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, Reed has already figured out what he did, but we don't know what sinister thing this guy did yet.
Right, other than the fact that he cosmic radiated his people in order to give them powers and then threw out the ones that looked gross.
Yeah, it's very let's scare the populace with a mysterious foreign threat so that they'll let us do whatever we want to them.
Right, exactly. And
including installing a complete and terrifying Big Brother network where everyone is spied on all the time.
Right, constantly. And using the monsters to do dirty work. But the Thing's story is pretty good in this one. It's just him beating up the Lowtown guys until he fights their ruler, then he beats their ruler, and now he's their ruler.
The Ben stuff was the stuff I liked in this issue, especially when he belted out his full extended catchphrase after knocking the guy down. He's Ben Grimm, the Idol of Millions, the one and only ever-loving blue-eyed thing.
Yeah, exactly.
All he needs to do is say something about Yancey Street and that it's clobbering time, and that's the thing.
That's all of it.
Idol of Millions. That's my favorite.
Yeah, it's heroic. It's nice. I like that. And Reed's pretty good in this, it's cool when he just knows everything. And when he shapes himself like a glider.
So gross. He's grabbing his ankles. I hate that. I hated that a lot. Like, it really squicked me out.
It bothers you?
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, don't usually see Reed using his powers for much.
That is one thing that this run has been doing, is it has been having a lot of fun with Reed's stretchiness. Remember how Doom had imprisoned him by, like, stretching and freezing him in his overly stretchedness?
Yeah, that was awesome, too.
Yeah, there's some cool, clever things going on here.
Right, but it hasn't usually been Reed using his powers to be, like, a superhero.
That's true.
Usually he's just thinking.
That's true. But Glider is weird, and I don't want him to do that anymore.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
But, overall, I think this one was alright. I liked it a little better than the first issue of this arc.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked Reed's little jive about being Sue's soulmate. And if she's sure there's no undersea principalities or whatever.
Yeah, that almost seemed like a direct shot at Tom Scioli.
Right, exactly.
Tom Scioli's like, ooh, let's turn up the Namor romance. Sue doesn't even really love Reed. And Dan Slott's like, fuck that.
Exactly. Funny stuff. I'd give this one a 6 as well.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 5 because I liked the Ben stuff. But overall, this arc is just average comics to me. I don't know what it is. It's fine. It's not bad enough to dump, but... All right, moving on to one of our 2 X-Man #1s this week. This is going to be New Mutants, written by Jonathan Hickman and Ed Brisson, with art by somebody Reese. Rod Reese. This is not an artist who I was familiar with, and I gotta be honest, not a fan. I'm sorry to say it. My least favorite part was the way that Wolfsbane was drawn, like this dude was tracing Maisie Williams, Arya Stark. Like, look at that face. Look at that face. And that's who's playing Wolfsbane in the unreleased New Mutants movie that may or may not ever come out. So I'm like, was this, like,
weird,
done as part of that? But it's so distracting that it's just Maisie Williams in this book.
Yeah. And her tone, coloring doesn't... It seems like it's popping out of the panel a little bit more than should be.
The overall look of everything in this book was very sort of light and thin-lined, and it did that thing I hate where it had repeating panels of characters' heads, where, the character would just be an obvious Photoshop copy paste. Like there's there's 2 poses that each character has in any of these 6 panels, and I hate that so much.
Yeah, that's fair. I can agree with that completely, 100%.
Yeah, overall, I really wanted to like this issue. It had a lot of things in it that I really wanted to like, but I don't know. It all just felt kind of.
I know exactly what you mean.
Corsair, just like, oh, I'm just a pirate now. Like, his characterization seems almost sort of like Johnny Depp in Pirates of the Caribbean-ish, where he's like, oh yeah, I'm a good guy, like, unless I need to do my shit, in which case, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I love a lot of these characters. Like, Chamber is great with his lower jaw of energy. Sunspot, I love Sunspot. He was great in Jonathan Hickman's Avengers run, which this book seems like a weird sequel to, because Cannonball is off in space with his Shi'ar wife, which took place in a timeline that never existed, according to current Marvel continuity.
Huh.
I mean, I'm sure this was your first time encountering a lot of these New Mutants characters.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. This is one of those X teams that a lot of people really like. But it's like, if you aren't really into the specific books that these characters appear in, you're like, who the hell is Chamber?
Right. And that weird guy. Mongo, yes.
Yeah, that was he was one I wasn't familiar with. I don't know if he's an original New Mutant or a more recent character. But yeah, I don't know. This one, it was I'm giving it a 4.
Yeah, I'd actually agree with that, a 4. I did, however, like their costumes. They remind me of Deep Space Nine's costumes, especially from behind.
I do like the united look of the team as well. I do appreciate that in an X team in a way that, you don't necessarily want that in an Avengers team or something like that.
That's true.
An X team, unless it's the 90s X-Men specifically, it's nice to have a little uniform coordination.
Yeah. So now we're going to talk about the other Transformers issue that we got this week, issue 14 of Transformers, the main run. Brian Ruckley and Anna Malkova and Bethany McGuire-Smith. We're all doing this one. This one I thought was pretty alright. The standoff outside the Titan was a little bit interesting, but it still feels a little bit meandering overall. It's like this whole plot. I mean, where's Optimus? What's he doing? Bumblebee's just kind of being the go with the flow follower of the Ascenticon guys that he's with. And
well, I mean, he went down to spy on Shockwave on Soundwave. He's definitely still.
Well, yeah, that's true. He's still doing his stuff.
And Starscream,
not very much.
Starscream's obviously going to be the one who finds him out, because that's the first thing Starscream wants to ask about when he gets back. Is like, hey, who the hell let Bumblebee on our team?
That's true. That was funny. I love that. I like that Cup's around. He's always cool.
I always enjoy Cup. I did especially like the scene with Soundwave talking to the Senticons that he had gone in to speak with, when they talk about, they don't know anything, it's totally safe to let them capture us, and then the idiots accidentally let him know that they actually do know far too much. And he has to kill them all, and he's just like, it wouldn't work necessarily with most of the other Decepticons, but Soundwave is always such a for the cause type that you really get the feeling that he is sad that he has to do this to these guys.
Right.
He's a being of necessity, but
right, he gives off the air of a general in the army, and it makes him a pretty interesting character, makes him stand out a little bit compared to the others. Yeah,
and that's why I don't like when Megatron is too heavily weighed by the events, because that is kind of what Soundwave should be doing in this new, more characterized version. And then it's he's the opposite of Shockwave in the little triptych, because Shockwave is purely unemotional, pure robotic cold logic, and that may come up very soon according to the next issue tease.
Right. Yeah, but overall I found this to be enjoyable. I give this one a 6 as well.
Alright, I'm giving it a 5. I didn't like it as much as the other Transformers.
That's fair.
But it's still doing its thing. Cool, K-Zama cover. She's the one who's been doing the
Yeah.
said book. Really enjoyed that. If only she could have been doing the insides. Not that the art was bad. The art was serviceable. But get Kazama on this book ASAP, please.
Right, because that cover is awesome.
That's what you want. Look at freaking Sideswipe's face.
Right, it says so much.
Okay. Issue 26 of The Immortal Hulk by Al Ewing and Joe Bennett. First of all, I just want to say, that cover, hot damn. Hot
it's a good
damn.
one.
So good. I love the various Hulks are there. Joe Fixit in his human form.
Yeah.
Like, it's great.
It is.
The issue itself, not so great to me.
It's different.
One, there's no action.
There's no action.
This issue is all about setting up the new status quo of Bruce Banner as a anti-corporate terrorist organization.
Yep.
And
It's terrorist.
And I don't know. I'm not sure if we're supposed to be thinking, like, be reading this and thinking, like, oh yeah, Bruce Banner, he's clearly the hero of this story, or oh no, Bruce Banner, what are you doing? And I would actually fully believe. Yeah. It's funny. It's like the fully expanded version of our conversation about the reporter character. Is like, is she the character we're supposed to identify with, or is she just a character who's espousing a viewpoint?
Right.
It's so weird. And if it wasn't for the Amadeus Cho conversation in the diner, I would 100% just straight up think like, oh no, Al Ewing truly believes all of these things and thinks that we should like attack corporations with violence.
I don't believe that.
I'm just not convinced because you wouldn't throw current Marvel Comics favorite Amadeus Cho under the bus by having him show up in your book just to be like, nah. Like, I'm the counterpoint, I don't like you. And so, yeah, I actually am in agreement with you, but I'm not sure. I am on the fence.
Yeah, you see, I think Bruce Banner, he's being influenced by the Devil Hulk. And, you know, we get it pointed out that, what's the Nerd Hulk?
Yeah.
And,
Professor Hulk.
Professor Hulk and Scar Hulk?
Green Scar
Hulk.
The one from Planet Hulk.
Right, are both dormant for this. And, you know, that's just saying, like, maybe this Devil Hulk has put the ones to sleep who are going to end up being the real heroes or going to have to save the day because Banner is influenced.
And is Devil Hulk even fully just Devil Hulk, or how much is he being influenced by the one below all?
Also true, right.
So, because it's supposed to nominally be a horror title and not a superhero book,
oh yeah,
in horror comics, it is acceptable to have a protagonist who is not a hero. In fact, who is maybe going to do something horrible and may or may not have horrible consequences visited upon him.
True.
But I don't know. We'll see.
We've gotten a lot of the horror in this book, and none of it has convinced me that the Hulk, at least one of them, isn't the hero of this book. Hulk may be the hero and the villain.
That is so true. And since Banner has the, as discussed in the issue, multiple personality disorder, or dissociative identity disorder, as we're supposed to call it now.
Yes.
All of that is 100% in play. And
the fact that Joe Fixit now comes out in Banners that, you know, there's flip flopping going on.
What other Hulks could take on Banner form instead?
Right, and maybe Banner gets shoved into one of the Hulks.
Well, that's pretty much Professor Hulk, I feel.
That's true.
But
if he's dormant,
I really want to know what Namor tells him, though.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's interesting that Namor is here at all.
I feel like Namor would never dress up in a diner outfit. Like,
even in disguise?
I guess. I mean, I guess he's the kind of person who will do the things that need to be done. But
it is a bit unbecoming of him.
It is very interesting. I was highly surprised. And I want to know what his advice is.
Yeah, that's true. That'd be nice.
And then, I guess we're going to be dealing with Roxxon now, which is just the most ham-fisted piece of like straw man, lazy, evil corporate.
The last 2 pages. Okay.
It's actually kind of funny.
It is.
Like, just
It's
how...
Just the comedy in the middle of all this horror. We get this guy
Who's
who's
just
a
like,
comedy.
It's just like, haha, nobody cares about shit. Like, we're an evil corporation. They never gave a damn. I can just tell them I'm a Minotaur. No one's gonna care. Fuck everyone. Money.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, media.
Immortal Hulk 26. I'm gonna give this issue. I'm so torn. I'm going to give this a 6. I'm going to give this one of my lowest rankings for an issue of Immortal Hulk.
Yeah, I still give it a 7.
I have to give it a 6, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
No action.
I know.
Okay.
I in spite of that, I liked what was going on quite a bit. I found it to be interesting. I'm intrigued. I'm hoping that Banner hasn't just gone postal.
Well, maybe he has, but they'll deal with him. You know?
Yeah.
We'll see. Samson might be the actual hero of this book. We don't know.
We don't know. So now we're going to move on from that and talk about a new number 1 for this week, Green Lantern Blackstars. Grant Morrison and Zarmonico.
Yes, only one name,
Only
Zarmonico.
one, yes, I noticed that.
Yes.
Pete Olaf. Steve Olaf, sorry, is also doing this, doing the cover.
Which is
great.
It's interesting because Liam Sharp's pencils are so different from Zarmanico's that even when you have the same colorist on board to give you some continuity, like it's such a different effect, the way that all the characters look, all the backgrounds are done, it needs a different treatment, and I think it works really well.
Yeah.
This new universe of tyranny, like it seems like it would have a cleaner, sharper art style than like the wild and weird world that we have existed in for the 12 issues of Green Lantern.
Yeah, that is true. And as clean as this is, it's a wild and weird world too.
Yeah.
I mean the Blackstars going around on Controller Moo's orders, of course.
Let's spend a lot of time talking about just the first few pages.
Just the first few pages.
This is your first experience with the 5 inversions, right? These weird aliens that are kept enslaved on Eastmalt.
Yes. This is definitely my first encounter with these weirdos. They're some kind of immortals, I take it. And also very powerful and evil.
Yeah, they're like evil demon gods from before the... Like, each of these is like a null from Marvel.
My goodness. And they each have their own weird way of talking.
And they're all imprisoned. They were imprisoned on this planet by the Guardians, and this place was made, illegal for anybody to visit by the Green Lantern Corps. But in a famous Alan Moore short story, Abin Sur, the previous Green Lantern, went and visited these guys and had a conversation with them where they like foretold a lot of future events.
Oh, wow. Nice.
And they basically hardly ever show up. But what I really want to talk about is when the Black Vampiress is talking about her various names. And she says, an intergalactic calls me Planet Eater Lass, which that's a wonderful reference to the Legion of Superheroes and their whole naming convention. There is a Legion of Superheroes, a guy named Matter Eater Lad.
Oh, nice.
So, not even a Legion guy, and I love that.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, and also known as Beelzebub.
Beelzebub.
Which everybody's heard that name before.
Who consumes worlds.
Who consumes worlds. But of course, Al Jordan goes there with, I forget her name, but she's cool.
Beelzebub.
Oh, yeah. Right. Same character.
Yeah, it's weird. I didn't get at first that this issue was being told out of order. I feel like the last thing happens first, because I wasn't noticing the days thing at the top. And you get to the end, and it's Hal Jordan over, and this is day 0.
Keeps going backwards.
Right, so I guess the coffin they were offloading from the ship, and this other scene is after Hal had, I don't remember where it was, but yeah, it was after Hal had retrieved his gift from Earth, whatever it was.
Right, so which is where it ends.
Yes.
We don't know what he got.
Gotcha.
And, them going to War World.
Yeah.
And fighting Mongol, also cool. I mean, they break him. God damn.
They break him hard. Straight vampire stuff, like draining some of his power, but not all, not killing him. That's creepy vampire shit, man.
That definitely is. They've got some big plans, and they're just making more and more Blackstars wherever they go.
Moo hasn't spoken in a long time.
Right. Moon now speaks through Beelzebub.
Peace through tyranny.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah, and at the end we get to day 0, and there's Hal Jordan over Earth, and he says, damn.
And, normally we don't talk about what I've read is going to come up in future issues, but I just saw an interview where Grant Morrison mentioned that in issue 2 of Blackstars, he's going to debut the most, evil, twisted version of Superman he's ever come up with, and I just could not be more excited.
Hilarious. So I'd give this one a 7.
Cool. I am giving this an 8. I
Nice.
love it. It's
Excellent.
a 7 plus my Grant Morrison bonus point. All right. Next up is Superman Up in the Sky, issue 5. Tom King and Andy Kubert. It's the series that just keeps on going. We're in it for the long haul at this point. Just one left. Tom King thinks it's cool to tell a story where Superman maybe had to kill somebody.
Right, and then leave it open, like maybe he did. Maybe he just left this person in terrible agony.
Right, in terrible agony to suffer because he wasn't strong enough. And then he makes this weird thing like either I'm lying about it and then I broke my word, or I'm not lying about it and then I broke my word. So you got what you wanted, Darkseid.
Clearly, that is what it was all about for Bendis.
King in this one.
King, sorry.
Yeah.
King.
We'll get to Bendis. We'll get there. I know you're excited.
Yeah, no, this is clearly the whole thing revolves around that one moment for King. It's like, ooh, not Superman down a peg, kinda.
Superman had to sully himself. That's a good story. And then there's this weird thing about Lex Luthor.
This page, where they're all eating fast food.
It looks like an advertisement. You almost skip over it because you're like, oh, that's a Burger King ad.
Right, it looks like an advertisement. And the fact that Superman is, wolfing down 2 huge burgers.
Like Jughead over here.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's off-putting.
And doing weird things like balancing his cup on his foot.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's strange. That page disturbed me.
There's good intentions here. And just all the pages are just overlaid with that flowery Tom King prose.
Right, exactly. It's just no cat and bat. It doesn't have cutesy names for Superman and Lois, but there's definitely some talk over them lying in bed. Just all those boxes.
It's checking every box. You're so right. It's like we know that he's not going to give up on getting this girl. We know.
Every issue has been about whether or not he's going to give up on getting this girl.
You can imagine if you were reading this in the little chunks that were coming out in the Giants each bunch, where it's only a third of this at a time. Imagine how the story would be going if this was issue 12, 9 or whatever, 12, whatever it would be.
Well, that would be rough.
That would be rough, man. Yeah, I can't think of almost anything. Superman isn't flying around doing anything cool in this comic. You're wasting Andy Kubert. You can draw a dope-ass Superman if he wants to.
Yeah.
The big splash page looks great. So I'm going to go ahead and give it 2 points on a few good art pages, and that's it.
Yeah, I also give it a 2. A few good art pages. Darkseid showed up for a minute. Always like seeing him.
Yeah. You want to switch?
Yeah, let's switch. And talk next about issue 5 of Batman Universe.
By Bendis.
Nick
Darrington.
Michael Bendis and Nick Darrington.
Looks great. Darrington's art, oof.
That's
Totally.
true. This art is quite good. And no major screw-ups like the glove last time.
Right.
Which I appreciate. This story kicked it into high gear a little bit with this one, with first Batman dying in Crime Alley, and then when Alfred shows up, he magically comes back from the dead. Real weird.
What do you think of Bruce Wayne being such a motor mouth when he's going into shock?
I definitely didn't like that.
Yeah, and making little cutesy observations like, oh, I always thought it would be ironic if I died by being
loop.
shot in Crime Alley, but this is awful.
Yeah, no, I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. And Alfred's remarks, thinking that he's probably infected with some kind of alien thing that's controlling him because he died.
This turned into
like a light Rick and Morty comic.
Right,
Almost.
yeah, exactly. It became a parody of itself rather quickly.
The almost full page spread of Bruce standing in the Batcave in a long dialogue from Hal Jordan and then Bruce, and it's just covering so much of the page.
Oh yeah, that's Bendis right there. But then Nightwing shows up, and
it gets good.
There's some cool Batman Nightwing stuff. It does indeed get good at that point as they decide to go fight some ninjas.
Nick Darrington, I feel like this is a thing he does, and I love it when any artist does this, when they do the full page action sequence where the action is just moving with no panel borders, with the guys, repositioning along one large image of a cut section.
Right, exactly. And it's them, and you see every guy they take out, and it's multiple of them taking out each guy, and all their cool moves. I love when Nightwing crawls into the vent while Batman jumps through the door and goes downstairs, and then he drops right down on the guy.
It's a wonderful piece of draftsmanship. Absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So many Svengoolie ads in this week's DC Comics.
I know.
Jesus!
It was an onslaught. But getting back to the comic, they get to Savage, and Savage has the egg, and he thinks he's unlocked its power and all that. But then out of nowhere...
He picked the right color for his little, I win robe.
Yeah, that's true. He picked white, which turns out is key as Batman for no reason that we can tell, decides to quote the Lantern mantra. And he becomes the White Lantern Batman, the White Bat Lantern.
Right. Even though he said the Green Lantern Oath, which was very strange to me that it worked that way.
Yeah, he says green, but it's not white. And he's like, okay, I guess it's white. And Batman with a power ring, you know how that goes. He creates mace and laser hand and some bat things. Pretty cool.
And then the Green Lantern Corps gets there quick.
They're there right away.
And they're all there.
All of them. Oh, yeah.
You think Darkseid showed up and they were all just happened to be on the planet next door.
Right. There's definitely a feeling of overkill when they show up and they're just like, halt. You are under arrest.
It is nice to see some of the lanterns that we've been seeing, the weird ones from the Morris run, like Chiselion here. I know so many of these names now.
that is true.
There's that one who doesn't wear a shirt. Don't remember his name, despite what I just said, but there he is. I recognize him. Even the very tiny ones, until you get way far back, have some pretty good, recognizable details about who they are. Pretty sure that's the blind one.
Nice. Yeah, there are so many of them.
Yeah, it's a good call.
Yeah.
Darrington, killing it.
Yeah, the White Ring seems to have a mind of its own, though, and is going to protect Batman and itself at all costs. To any perceived threat. So, that's what we're going to get.
When they're like, Batman, you're under arrest. And he's like, okay!
Yeah, right.
Please do not attack my person! So weird.
And I thought that was pretty funny.
It's like Batman would know how to talk to cops.
Right, exactly. Yeah, but the ring caused a whole explosion, and Batman finds himself in a colorful white void. Which also looks great.
Yeah, because it's not white void. It's very pastel rainbow void.
Yeah. And, so he's got troubles. Actually, for a Bendis comic, enjoyed this one rather well and would give it a 6. Yeah,
I'm also going to give this one a 6. I thought it was overall pretty good, and Nick Darrington is carrying everything.
Oh man, just blew it away.
We're already having a little bit of trouble with the jokey dialogue. Imagine if it was being done by an artist with a more serious style, and that was the dialogue. So Darrington is adding so much. It's wonderful.
It's good.
All right, next up we're going to do the second issue of Copra by Michel Fiffe, and it is all by Michel Fiffe.
Yes,
and it's just action. It's just coming at you. It's action. And it's so funny how, the cliffhanger from the previous issue, where you're like, oh my god, the arm is going to, kill them all.
Right.
It's like, oh no, the guy who's in charge of everything is freaking out. That's not what we wanted to do at all. Because he's really, I don't know what he's trying to accomplish.
Who knows?
He's trying to get them on his side or something.
He just wants to put arms on people.
He wants to put arms on people that aren't replacement arms. And I did enjoy... Weir's whole thing where he has to learn to control a robotic cast arm sleeve that he has no actual control over. He can kind of do things with it.
Right, if he can lift it.
Right.
Which most of the time he can't.
Lots of good action. The art is Michel Fife's art, so if you like it, you like it, and if you don't, you don't.
Yep.
Although I did find the action in this issue to be much easier to follow than the previous issue.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, the heroes and the villains all have pretty defined things they can do and are doing, and this weird guy.
With this long neck, Danny.
Yeah, and his chicken legs, and his like weird one tentacle that comes out of his neck hole.
Yeah.
Michelle's having fun with the character designs all over the place with her black and white outfit and the way it interacts with shadows.
You mean doesn't at all?
Doesn't at all.
And yeah, this is a good set of panels when it walks you through the whole step of it, where everybody is in accordance to each other as you're following one from the panel into the next one. I like that.
Yeah, he fools you with some of the simplicity of his art when he's actually like really doing some pretty cool draftsmanship things.
Yeah.
And then he'll just lay
perspectives and stuff, which is nice.
And then he'll just lay one color over the whole thing and make you think like, what's he doing?
Right.
But sometimes it works, like on the aforementioned 2 pages where all the panels are different. And sometimes it's like, you got a little lazy.
Right.
You really wanted to color that last page quick. And then when Yasuda shows up, at first I was like, okay, does he have 6 arms? I don't think he has 6 arms. He's just real fast.
It does look like totally. It looks like he has 6 arms.
But he might have 6 arms.
It's possible.
We only get that one shot of him. He might have 6 arms.
Yeah.
And then when they're peeling the helmet off of the guy, when trying to pull it off.
Yeah, it's melted his head in there.
And his eyes are in such different spots.
Yeah, no, that's horror comics.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I am still a little lost because I didn't read the arc of Copra that immediately preceded this, and this is only your 2nd issue of Copra, so I can only imagine that this feels like coming in on the 6th season of a television show.
Yeah, well, most of the time the characters have their names in boxes under them, so that helps.
It is highly helpful, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and give this a 6.
Okay. I give it a 5.
Cool.
All right. Next up is the Legion of Doom, issue 5. 35.
Right. Well, because it's actually...
Oh, right. It's Justice League issue 35. It's just got this cool overlay that a few comics had this week from DC.
Real quick, let's talk about the overlays, because we got 2 of them.
We did get 2 of them.
And this one, I thought, was kind of lame. Because you lift the overlay and the whole picture changes, and there's like no...
It's 2 things. There's 2 pictures.
It's doing like, okay, I get it. Perpetua is manipulating everything that's happening. You can't see her on the front page, which is revealed on the back.
Pulling the strings.
But...
Right, that one's much better.
Right, where it's City of Bane, and it's just Bane on the cover, and the overlay is really cut out around Bane, and then it's so perfectly done to have the Flashpoint Batman, as you said, pulling the strings.
Right.
I really enjoyed that version of the cover, and I thought that it kind of shamed the...
It does. It's true. No, you're not wrong. Yeah, back to...
Justice League 35.
Justice League 35. That's by Scott Snyder, James Tynion IV, and Francis Manapul. This is, it continues to do what it's been doing. Perpetua's back. They've all lost. Who's given up hope?
I love the bits with all of the different areas of the multiverse, both within our current multiverse, or we see Barbados down in the dark multiverse, and then it starts showing us that all the other multiverses, and we spend a bunch of time in Mike Mignola's Jack the Ripper, Earth 19 Gotham, from Gotham by Gaslight.
Right, because that one gets destroyed by Perpetua right then. But everybody can see Perpetua's symbol of doom wherever they are. It's just there.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. So that's dark, and like I said, Perpetua immediately goes and destroys one of the Earths.
Yeah, the only saving grace seems to be that Perpetua has to, recharge in between destroying a universe.
Yeah, but she obviously plans to get through them all. And then have...
Because Anti-Monitor is going to take over as the new World Forger.
Right, Anti-Monitor is going to create new worlds.
Lex is going to lead an army that destroys all of the other universes.
Right, and that's what we're going to get next time. But Shane has mentioned that he does still feel his father John's presence, Martian Manhunter,
I'm sure
inside.
That's never
No, come on. That was called a long time ago, so we kind of know what's going to be happening. Luther's going to be going out on his Legion of Doom.
Yeah, he's going to be leading the Legion against the Justice League.
Yeah, and obviously they're going to have to not have him be a apex predator by pulling John out of him. And then on the back you got another
an ad overlay. I didn't notice that.
An ad overlay, which also is just making a joke out of the whole thing, because you get the whole Batman head, which conceals an ad. Hilarious. It was all right. Not the best it's been, but certainly not worst, and it doesn't feel like the plot is on hold. So I'd give this one a 6.
I'm giving this one a 7. Not too much action. The plot just barrels along. I like everything that's happening. I love the multiverse stuff. It just feels like this is the 35th issue of a Crisis event that's been at the exact same level of panic for 35 issues.
Right. If it's not the Source Wall, it's Perpetua herself.
If you're...
How big can you go?
If you're always in danger, you're never in danger. I don't know if that works, but... Anywho, let's move on to issue 1 of X-Force by Benjamin Percy and Joshua Cassara, which was, in my opinion, the best number 1 of the Dawn of X books so far.
Agreed.
This book had it all. It had action, it had suspense and drama and crazy things happening, and a cast of characters we recognize and enjoy.
Yep. Wolverine was done well.
Wolverine is great, and Wolverine is continuing to lay the foundation of this idea that, being on Krakoa is not necessarily good for mutants, and there's, weird things happening that aren't explainable, and people are acting weird, and Krakoa can lull you into a false sense of security.
Yeah.
I was really... on the cover, I was looking at it, and I'm like, wait, why is Doctor Strange on X-Force with all these characters? But no, it's Black Tom Cassidy, which is a great use of Black Tom Cassidy and his nebulous, weird control of wood powers. To have him be, interfacing with Krakoa to be its neural defense system.
Yes,
which is really cool.
And the explanation of Krakoa's defenses and warning systems is very cool.
Cool data pages that are telling us interesting things, just like in the Hickman original books.
Right, where they all have data pages.
Right.
But, usually it's not as good as here and in the original Hickman books.
Professor X is doing something in this book, which is very interesting to see how he's acting, and I really want to know what he drank, because you do not zoom in like that.
Right, well, it clearly looks like poisonous toxic waste. But, all the same, I do like this Professor X. He does seem like badass.
Yeah, he's going out, he's getting it done, he's making treaties and deals himself. He's doing the business of what he needs to do to be a leader. He's not sitting back, and he's putting himself in danger. Because that's the other thing this issue did, was I feel like it gave us 2, or maybe this is the same organization that we were seeing in the beginning, right? The white body stripes, that was the thing. It's all the same people. Maybe not. Maybe we don't know
Not
that.
sure.
So that 1 to 2 legitimate threats to mutantdom are show up in this book and are legit threats.
Yeah. They mentioned Domino when these guys come in, and the ones in the beginning with the stripes definitely had Domino. So they're probably the same, but you don't actually see Domino with these ones.
Yeah, I wonder if they did something that made Krakoa think they were Domino. That's how they got in. Because that's what he's saying. Oh, Domino, she's back. Domino, you're sure? So,
yeah.
Okay.
No, it's weird.
I didn't work any of that out while I was reading it, but that does seem to make sense. And obviously, Professor X didn't actually die. But,
well, yes.
But yeah, man, this might have been if not for Green Lantern, this might have been the book of the week for me. This is what you wanted out of books coming out after House of X and Powers of 10, and like I said, the characters you want. Like, I'm excited that Quentin Quire is going to be showing up as part of this main cast. Colossus. You got to love Colossus.
Oh, yeah.
Taking hits while he's going out doing, the things that he needs to do. It's good. I liked this one. I'm giving this an 8.
I also give it an 8. That was book of the week for me. Next up, we are going to be talking about City of Bane. That's issue 82 of Batman by Tom King.
Yeah, Mikkel Jaden on this one, I think.
Mikkel Jaden. I think you're right about that. And
it's the issue where Batman cheats to win. And we're supposed to be like, awesome.
Yeah, so never mind about what happened last time with Thomas Wayne obviously taking them all prisoner. No, we're away from that.
He left them all to bleed out.
He left them all... Right, and now Bruce and Bane are getting in a fight. Bruce says no weapons, no help, and he gets rid of his armor and his mask, and Catwoman's not going to help him, he says, and Bane gets rid of his venom.
Right. And then Catwoman
Catwoman
monologues about how stupid a plot twist that is.
Right. She's like, I told you he would fall for it. And Bruce is like, I didn't believe it. I didn't think he'd fall for us lying. Why did I never think about lying before?
You can't culminate an 82-issue series that has all these supposed twists and turns, and this guy was in control of everything all along. Every single action that everybody took was going to be absolutely, guessed by this guy and his crack... No. Not. Ask him to not have his Venom thing on, and he'll take it off, and then Batman's gonna break his back?
Right, Batman is just gonna break Bane's back for all the things that he did as Thomas Wayne's puppet.
I hate that.
Yeah, it's real weird.
I mean, maybe he wouldn't have actually gone through with it.
Yeah, it seemed like he would. But then Thomas Wayne shoots him.
Hey, how do you pick somebody up starting... this. It's crazy.
Oh, you hoist him up onto your knee so that you can get your arms under him.
Oh. Yeah, okay. I'll give it to you.
Yeah, no, totally. But yeah, like I said, Thomas Wayne shoots him. And
then kills Bane?
Maybe.
I feel like he shoots him in the head.
Does he shoot Bane in the head?
It's very unclear from the art.
Very unclear.
But if you look at the way the biggest blood stain is, which is we can assume that's where Bane got shot...
That's a good point. It does look totally like Bane, he just shot Bane right in the head. Which is weird. And then he tells his Alfred, who isn't Alfred, is to go fetch a pirate. Right, the ventriloquist. To go fetch a pirate.
Yeah, Psycho Pirate.
Psycho Pirate. I don't know him.
Oh, right. You started reading this after Psycho Pirate was a thing. Yeah, Psycho Pirate. God, do I have 10 minutes to explain Psycho Pirate? We'll just see if Tom King does it next issue.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I'd give this a 3.
I am going to also give it a 3 because the actual art of the fight is very good.
True. They have a good fist fight.
And the cover is cool. I gotta give it that.
Yeah, it has a few things.
We're going to finish up this week by talking about the 7th issue of the Savage Avengers. That's written by... Did I say Avengers? Avengers.
I think you said Avengers.
That's by Jerry Dugan, drawn by Patrick Zurcher. And we get some Brother Voodoo interacting with Kulan Gath. And he goes on a weird vision after he eats some drugs. And he gets to see Shuma Gorath and a weird on a guy's head version instead of how he's usually just an eye with tentacles.
Yeah, no, it's weird. Doctor Strange does show up in this one.
Doctor Strange does show up in this one because he knows something's wrong with Brother Voodoo, and he also has had previous dealings with Kulan Gath.
Right.
And then we get to our Conan part.
Right, which is required in Savage Avengers at this point, we know.
And it was pretty fun. Conan does what he has done in every issue of Savage Avengers that hasn't started immediately off from a previous one, which is walk into a thing to try to get beer and or women.
Right, and it has to beat up everybody, and then he gets some beer or women.
But it was all a trick, so that they could do a weird, we're going to kidnap him, but actually kidnap him into a replica of the place
The
that
fact
we
that it
kidnapped
was a
him from.
replica is just the funniest thing, especially since you find out who's behind the whole thing.
Yeah. It's Dr. Doom. And guess what? Dr. Doom knows how to fucking talk to Conan.
Yeah.
I loved it. Dr. Doom, it went, give me, Conan says, give me a reason not to drive this iron into your eye. And Doom says, if you do, my servants will not cook for you.
Yeah.
He said, in the autumn, my kitchen prepares turkeys and geese, specked with beetroot soup. And this is the season when our finest kegs are tapped. Join me and eat like a king.
Right? Yeah, I love that.
It's great. It's great. I enjoyed it. This is a very fast issue to read. Electro was in it, and it was really just to be doing an action scene while having a conversation with Doctor Strange. And you know what? I appreciate giving us an action scene to watch while having your exposition take place. That's what a book called Savage Avengers should do.
Yeah, the little bit of exposition that you actually do get.
Art was good, serviceable throughout. I really have no complaints about this. Conan's journey is not
I love that we
all
just
the way.
keep getting more of Conan's journey every time.
I'm into it. Let's do it. I'm going to give this one a 6.
Alright, I give it a 7.
Awesome. Well, that's going to do it for our reviews from this week. Thanks for sticking with us, everybody. Remember to like if you enjoyed listening. Subscribe if you haven't. Click the bell if you want to be notified whenever we do an upload. And we will be back in the very near future with even more comic reviews.
Oh yeah.